So, good morning or good night, depending on where you are in the world, and welcome to another episode of Is It That Bad, where we take a look at an album and we decide, is it that bad or isn't that bad? And a lot of times we talk about older albums, but for this episode, we're talking about a brand new record that came out today. But it's a band that I've never really gotten into. And I remember I referred to them as Discount Slipknot. So the band that maybe that's a hint for everyone.
Oh, everyone's just going to be like, oh,
Everyone,
no,
this is the
he just
band that
did the
we're
moon.
talking about today. It's Mushroomhead
Mm.
and Call the Devil. So before we get to round one, I don't know. We should talk about this artwork. What do you guys think?
I think it's like a 13-year-old first discovered Photoshop and just figured out how
Yeah.
sepia tone worked, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, what
It's very,
about you,
very
Nick?
literal. Literally, the devil is on the phone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know what's funny about this artwork? That I look at it and it looks like the devil is annoyed that Mushroomhead is calling them. I'm like, really? You guys, couldn't I get like a real satanic band to call me? Yeah,
What, was Slayer busy? Like,
yeah, well, they're retired. What
yeah,
about you, JC? What do you
Gary.
think of the cover?
The cover, yeah, I thought it's weird. Like the devil has a cell phone, and why is like the Marvel Comics Venom face on the back of it? And
I
why
think
does he have
it
like
looks like the
red goop?
Metallica devil. Like the Metallica
And what he
skull.
has like this red goop like dripping on his head, like what's the point of that? It kind of looks like they're trying to make some kind of like Marvel Comics like superhero out of like the devil with a cell phone or something.
Yeah. So people, Ivan Moody, call the devil. Don't, not your mother, but the devil. That's a quote from a previous episode that we had on Chili's channel. So if you haven't seen that episode, go watch it. So yes, we're talking about Mushroomhead and backstory. This is the band's ninth album. And you know what is surprising to me? They put an album in 95. So they've been around longer than Slipknot, believe it or not.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And I can't believe it. I'm like, really? I thought that they came after. So on this album, this is considered a continuation to their experimental and alternative metal style from their previous album, 2020's A Wonderful Life, which I didn't fucking listen to. So
Don't bother.
they're deviating from their new metal. So yeah, this is the band's ninth album. And yeah, I saw that this was coming out today. I'm like, this is a great band to talk about on Is It That Bad? So again, joining me on this episode, I have JC Rock and Metal Reviews. JC, how are you?
I'm doing good, thanks.
Live Listening Erase, my brother from Sydney, Australia, and the man who produces iron from his eyes.
Yes. Not blood, not this blood stuff with a selfie, like, No, I got iron, not this slime stuff from Nickelodeon.
Yes. And we have Nick Sino, or as I like to call him, the Lost Oasis brother.
Yes.
Mm.
I'm the fourth Gallagher brother.
The fourth Gallagher brother.
There's three of them, so we got to go fourth. Yeah.
So you know the drill, people. We have the free rounds. We have like an impromptu round just to talk about the artwork. The first round, our first impressions, which, let's face it, we listened to this today. So what we thought of it when we listened today. Then we are going to do round number two. And for this one, since a new album and it has 13 tracks and it's like an hour long, we're picking 4 tracks.
Oh, yeah.
4 tracks to discuss. And then the third and final round where we give our last impressions and we vote thumbs up, thumbs sideways, or thumbs down. So let's start this episode. Let's start. Let's do Chili, then Nick, then JC, then me. So Chili, your first impressions of Call the Devil.
Yeah, certainly. So, look, I mean, just like you, when it comes to Mushroomhead, I wasn't exactly well aware of the band back in the day. Obviously, you grow up listening to a band like Slipknot, and you can see where obviously the history of Mushroomhead being before the band and all that stuff culminates. So I did a bit of a deep dive when you said, "Hey, we should check out this episode for Is It That Bad?" So I did a very short, checking out the best of playlist that they had, listening to their music. Because I knew the song Sun Doesn't Rise. That was on an MTV Headbangers Ball disc, and it was an amazing track. Loved it. But looking at the deep dive, I was looking at their other songs. I'm like, damn, there's some really epic tunes here. I, liked some of their earlier stuff. But then, you're looking over the history of the band with about 5,000 lineups, and you're going, oh, yeah, wow, okay, this really mirrors, a lot of other bands out there. So how is it going to be? So I'm listening to this new record because I'm a time traveler in Australia and I get to listen to it, 12 hours before all the rest of you guys. So I've had a bit of time to listen to this a bit more. Whether that's fortunate or not will be yet to be seen. I will say this about the few lead singles. I was not impressed. So the lead singles, were a bit, yeah, okay. So I'm thinking to myself,
We don't
okay,
care.
yeah, we don't care. I got words on that one, but yeah, look, it didn't leave me too blown away, and definitely understanding why we were picking this record.
Yeah, good first impressions. And yes, since you're in the future, you had more time to digest it, which I guess I'm sorry.
Don't be, it's all right. I'll
Yeah.
forgive you this time.
You'll forgive me this time. We So what about you, Nick? Did you get an HR memo from work?
Yeah, it was another great record to listen to with my headphones at work. And well, I think with Chile, like when you're in Australia, you get to be the guinea pig for all these records that we have to listen to. You're the first one who has to feel the pain in this kind of situation. So yeah, this is the 9th studio album. This is the first time I've ever listened to anything Mushroomhead related at all in my entire life.
You're welcome.
But the thing. Everything on this album,
Great entry.
I don't know, yeah, exactly. This is a great place to step into this. But every song on this album sounds like another band, but worse. That's what I felt about this one. So it sounded like Slipknot. There was, I think, maybe a little bit of Evanescence in there, a little bit of System of a Down in there as well. But I felt like it was definitely a worse version of all of those bands in every possible instance. The one thing I did really like about this, I thought the best part of the album was, I think her name is Jackie LaPanza, who's the female vocalist on this record. I thought she was the best thing about this. I felt like she brought in
Visually or...
No, just actually, I thought her voice was not too bad. Well, yeah, she's got the complete package, I guess. So she brings that kind of Amy Lee quality. And then how many singers, can you guys clarify for me, how many singers are in this band and on this album? 3, right? So we have Jackie, we have the scream, heavy vocalist, and then we have another clean male vocalist. Is that correct?
That's right. Yep.
Okay. Yep. That clean vocalist was, I don't know. It was a little bit tough to listen to him. The screamer was good. I thought Jackie LaPanza was good, but I felt this was a really tough record to get through. It wasn't like Thor level tough to get through, but it was also it was pretty tough to get through for me. So it wasn't a complete loss, but it wasn't a great listen overall for me.
Good first analysis. What about you, JC?
Okay, I have listened to this band on and off, but I've never been a big fan. I've never really listened to like full albums or anything. I've just, their songs have come up in playlists and things like that. But I listened to it and I found that they're kind of going in a different direction, but they seem to be like having a lot of ideas and going all over the place. But for me, to my ears, I think like their biggest influences are Faith No More and Mr. Bungle. Like,
oh
I think
my God,
that's what they're trying for. But there's other stuff I was hearing. I mean, like some stuff sounds like metalcore, and then sometimes they're like trying to sound like carnival music, and other times like they sound like Slipknot or 9 Inch Nails or whatever. But like Nick said, I think the woman, the female vocals, I think like she kind of like, adds a new level. She kind of like saves this a little bit. I mean, I think she sounds very good. But otherwise, I think it was kind of like all over the place. But I'll give you more thoughts later on it.
Yeah. So my initial thoughts, I'm glad you did that Faith No More, because there's a few tracks on this album where the singer tries to be Mike Patton, but there's only one Mike Patton. And
Oh, yeah.
there's no way. And I was listening to it, and I'm like, oh my God, he's trying to do a Mike Patton, but it's like it's not even close, like don't try it. Like Mike Patton is one of the most like recognizable voices in metal. Like there's you should not try it. And then no one has mentioned this, but there's like a few songs with the singer and the man singing. I don't know why I got Meatloaf vibes. Like I will
Meatloaf?
be ready.
Some of it was very theatrical, yeah.
Yeah, there's so much theatricality and cheese on this album. It's like
Yeah.
throwing the cheese. It's like, should I stop it? They're like, no, keep going, more cheese. But come on, the name of the band is Mushroomhead. And like all of you all, like I've listened to songs here and there, but I've always thought of them like a lesser Slipknot. I'm like, why do I want to listen to Mushroomhead when there's Slipknot?
Yeah.
So yeah, that's but I didn't. When did they get the female singer? Because I don't think they had a female singer in the past. That this is like
Back in 2020 for the last album.
so yeah. I gotta say, I think the female singer is the best thing for them. Maybe like get away of the other singers and just use the female vocalist, and you'll be a better band. And maybe change the name of the band and just rebrand
Change
it.
everything about the band.
Change
Good way to
everything.
go.
Just do a rebranding. Just call yourself the New Heads. Drop the mushroom. So yeah.
Drop
So
the
it's
mushrooms.
I didn't know what to expect from it because yeah, it's all over the place, and I thought it's too long. 60 minutes of this music is too long, and it felt long. But yeah, those were my first impressions. I've never really been a fan of this band, but I thought, yeah, this would be a good one. So yeah, so we've all given our first impressions. So now we're gonna pick 4 tracks that we think are the weakest and why. So Shili, what tracks did you pick?
Oh, here we go. Yes, I'm gonna pick the first one. I'm gonna pick is definitely "Fall in Line." One terrible, terrible single. Did Five Finger Death Punch write this tune? I'm a bit confused. It screams of Ivan Moody. Like literally, I was listening to it. I had the joke lined up without even listening to Five Finger Death Punch. So I listened to this track, and then halfway through it, I pressed a random Five Finger Death Punch song. I didn't notice the change. So it's so indistinct. People are on like Reddit going, this is amazing. This is great. And I'm like, really? Really? You think this is amazing? Okay.
They're on
Everyone's got their different.
mushrooms.
Yeah, I guess. Like, I mean, there's a thing about the whole music scene. It's like, okay, you call yourself Mushroomhead, but you're playing like some fast, speedy metal. It's almost akin. It's like you're not taking mushrooms. You're taking like speed. It's almost like, was Motorhead taken by the name? I don't know. Anyway, mushrooms and metal, not a good mix. But yeah, this lead single just reeks of mid-core generic metal, and nothing will change my mind about it. It's a terrible single, I think. And I guess it's good to hear Jackie Laponza on what sounds like, in my opinion, a bit of a glorified guest appearance throughout the record. You guys have obviously said, you like her, you appreciate it on the album.
I would say
And-
like is a strong word for me.
Okay. So, okay, she brought out elements for this album. For me, listening
Did
to
her
her, it felt
job.
like she did a job. I mean,
Did they
keep
do-
in mind, right? Yeah, she did a job. She's been on only 2 records out of 9. What does she do when they're touring and they're like, all right, your parts weren't invented for this? Do you just stand around like, yeah, ooh, yeah, like, I don't know. I don't.
They're like, hey, woman, make us a sandwich. No, that's a sexist joke.
Make some mushrooms for us, man. Like, I don't
Make
know.
a mushroom omelette.
Gonna make mushy shakes to enjoy this. Next one I picked up would have to be Hallucination, an absolute snooze fest of a tune. Boring, slow, and it's extremely similar to the following song, Hideous, which it's like I couldn't tell the difference between these 2 songs almost, and it's certainly that lull in the record. Like you said as well, it's a long album, 60 odd minutes, and this really didn't help when you had 2 songs back to back that are just and it just, woof, yeah, I would skip these two songs easily on the next playthrough. Then I would say Shame in a Basket. This song is
It's
it is
painful.
it's a painful freaking track. Here it is, a song with an epic sounding build up. It's 8 minutes long. You think it's going somewhere, but it leads to absolute nowhere. What an absolute prick tease. There is no payoff over its duration. It's tediously long. It feels even longer than most songs by Yes, and it's just terrible. I reckon they should just rename the track. They should rename the name of this track to Shame of the Album. And just a shout out to Doom Goose. What a horrible track name. F that track.
Yeah. They should have named that track Put the Lotion in the Basket. A Silence of the Lambs reference. But on
Oh
this,
yeah.
I would say put the CD in the basket and went
Oh
away.
yeah. Let Leatherface eat your heart out.
Yeah, so four good tracks to pick, my friend. So what about you, Nick?
Yeah, well, like with Shame in a Basket is like what exactly does like Shame in a Basket look like? Can you deliver that door to door shame door to door in a basket? That's kind of like the visual that came into my head on that one. But Emptiness, that was the one of the tracks I didn't like at all, and this was kind of where my question of like where all the singers came from on this record. And the thing is, like, I've listened to a lot more metal. We all know that I'm not necessarily the biggest metal guy out of the group here, but I'm always the one looking for bands to, where's the part where they're going to sing a little bit and provide that melody. And then on this record, I was hoping that they wouldn't sing aside from the female vocalist, because every time the clean male vocalist came on, it was cringe for me. So, and I'm
It
thinking,
was
are
like
these guys,
discount Corey Taylor.
yeah, discount Corey Taylor, but oh man, and that you can't beat Corey Taylor. Like he's one of the best vocalists out there in rock and roll. So, and like I know this album, I think I was reading that it's very much an attempt by them to become a little bit more mainstream and try to break through a little bit more into,
Oh,
I
is that
guess,
right?
modern
I don't
rock,
know if it's
modern
been
rocker.
30 years and you haven't broken
Now's the
through yet.
time.
I would say
Give up.
you go with 4.
Yeah.
Just stick to what you're doing.
Yeah, it's not gonna happen, buddy. If 30
Yeah,
years
Yeah.
later you haven't broken through, it's not happening.
This could
The
be the
bottle
one.
service
Album
tried
number
this,
9.
and yeah, exactly. Yeah, number 9 for luck.
Yeah, this is the lucky one. What was the other one? We Don't Care. I all of a sudden this sounded like a Demi Lovato album. Again, I do like Jackie LaPanza as a vocalist, but it started to sound like a Demi Lovato album, and then it sounded like a country song mixed with heavy guitars. So the genres we were saying, like they're all over the place on this record. There's so much variety, but it's not necessarily a good variety for me on this one. And then another one was Decomposition, which sounded, I think
Yeah.
JC mentioned that it sounded like a carnival or a circus or something like that.
Yeah.
So this song absolutely makes sense like that. It just sounds like a demented circus. And I don't know if circus music works even in rock. It just never sounds good no matter what.
There's only one band that's ever pulled that off, and that's Insane Clown Posse.
Yeah, exactly. These guys do not have the clown magic that those guys have.
No,
So
no.
and there was like System, like I mentioned, there was a little bit of a System of a Down reference there for me too. Like it sounded a little bit like System, but way worse, just like everything else on this record. And then
Maybe
the
they
last
sound
one,
like a cover band of bands.
yeah, exactly. And then Grand Gesture was the other one that I didn't really like. I thought
Oh,
that
that's
was
so boring. Yeah.
it had like Thor level bad singing on that one. And when you have 3 singers and there's still bad singing, you got something bad going on. So those are the 4 ones that I didn't like.
Good ones. Everyone's picking a few in common, but a few in different. So what about you, JC?
Okay. I don't know. I think I might have different ones. I guess the first track, Eye to Eye, very well, it's kind of weird because they start playing like this blues or like a bluegrass, but then like they're doing like groove metal. I don't know. I think it just didn't really go anywhere for me. There was like too many ideas tried to put into one song. My next one is the UIOP. That's another one that sounds like the carnival music with a very theatrical sound, and they try to make it like sound new metal with the heavy riffs, and then they try to sound like weird. They go into this like Faith No More, Mr. Bungle type of sound with keyboards, but that's another one. Didn't really do much for me. Then after that, I have Prepackaged. Another one, like some of these songs are more they're trying for this like groove metal meets metalcore, like Lamb of God with like industrial. This one Prepackaged, it was just kind of very boring for me. I think it didn't really go anywhere. And my fourth one is going to be I'm probably going to say some of the same stuff, but Torn in Two. Another one is just a mixture of the metalcore, the going for the groove metal, going for that Lamb of God sound, and then the industrial sound. There was a breakdown in this with like a metalcore breakdown, which was okay, not too bad. And the electronic sound. So I think for me, like the weakest moments were when they were going for that groove sound, but I don't know, but there are the other songs where they're kind of like being a little weird with the Faith No More vibes. Those like weren't that bad for me. I mean, I think like the between the Faith No More influence and the female vocals are kind of like made it like not as bad, but I'll give you my final thoughts in the next round. Yeah.
Okay. So that leaves me, and I hate it when they try to do like a Faith No More thing. So I heard that on Decomposition. I heard like they were trying to do a make pattern, but it just didn't hit. And Decomposition was, it was weird, it was boring. I agree with Fall in Line. It's that generic. They're trying to be like it's like a Five Finger Death Punch song. So I agree on that one. I think Hallucination is just boring as hell. And on that one, they were trying to, I don't know why, I thought a little bit of like they were trying to imitate Snuff from Slipknot, but failed completely. They were trying to do like a more slow, but just failed. Like total fail. Like no. This track is just full of like something that would make it epic. So yeah, it failed for me. I thought a lot of this album was terrible, to be honest. But the fourth track that I picked is Shame in a Basket. And I don't know why, when I was listening to that track, I had like he's singing like so slow. It sounds like he's singing in a play like, please, I have shame. I put this CD on a basket. And the cashier says, please do not buy. And I say, why not? Because this isn't Slipknot, it's just Mushroomhead. Leave it at the aisle, go get something else. Yes, that's I've been thinking of that, like, how can I put this into song? And I don't know, I would
nailed it.
ask that my song is better than theirs.
And you only had one singer there.
It was only me. But yeah, and I felt like Shame in a Basket. That sounds like the metaphor when I heard that song is like you're in trouble with your girlfriend and you're giving her a gift. Because, like, I feel ashamed. Here, I don't know if you guys remember back in like the beginning of the 2000s, you gave the Sad Sams, which were those dogs that look sad, and you put them on a basket.
What?
So I thought of that. That's Shame on a Basket. Look. Yeah, I'll get the picture of a Sad Sam and I'll show it soon so people who are seeing one. So those are the four tracks that I picked. So now we're going to the third and final round where we give it our last impression. So while Chili's doing that, I'm gonna go look for a Sad Sam to post.
It's gonna be Googling the Sad Basket, and it'll come back probably with the actual album of Mushroomhead that we're Googling now. But whatever, look, disregarding that for a moment. So my thoughts in regards to this album is very simple. From the two lead singles, it's easy to see why this album is picked for Is It That Bad? Both were just extremely mediocre singles. Both were very commonplace cookie cutter BS when it comes to like the metalcore scene. And it's just shockingly below average in some areas. But yeah, it's for me though, it was hard to hate this album entirely because I thought there were still a few bangers on here in regards to some of the songs. I know Nick, you mentioned a few songs that I actually enjoyed. Grand Gesture was one of the songs I actually really enjoyed. Along with We Don't Care. I thought that was like a big middle finger to, the whole their thought process probably and maybe their views on the world. And along with Emptiness, while being a complete Faith No More knockoff, it's still a really cool song. I think it's more like an homage to Faith No More to a
Yeah.
degree. To a degree, I say. They're very much in line. Like you're listening to it and you go, you are doing the best you can trying to do a Mike, Patton, and you just cannot do Mike Patton's vocal range.
They can
No
only
one
do
bloody-
Mike.
They can only do Mike, yeah. I mean, it's so odd because at the end of the day, this is ironic from a band that called Slipknot extremely they focus on Slipknot when they started to, come out in the 90s as plagiarizing their sound, but Mushroomhead are plagiarizing Faith No More. Where's the balance here? I don't get it. But yeah, it's a
And
weird
JD
band.
Jasta plagiarized Metallica.
Yes, exactly. We cop hate for that, but whatever. Mushroomhead do it. Oh, it's great. It's amazing. It's better than the OG stuff. Songs like, I mean, yeah, look, what was it? We Don't Care. I mean, I guess they should have just focused on We Care a Lot, more like it, but whatever.
Yeah, I heard of that. We care a lot. Yeah.
We care a
Yeah.
lot. Sorry, I stole your joke there. But, exactly, we don't care that much at the end of the day. It's so odd as well looking at their timeline of band members, and there's only one common member still around, and I believe it was the drummer who's the original member. And you're looking at it. There's 4 percussionists in this group, by the way. There are 2 drummers, and then there are 2 water drummers, they call them. So they're playing like a 44-gallon drum, but it's not a 44-gallon drum, it's a water drum. The bloody difference, I don't know. But yeah, that's a lot of percussionists. Anyway, so yeah, there are 10 members in this group. I think one of them's a touring musician, but whatever. Do they really need that many? I don't love this album, but I don't hate it either. So at the end of the day, sideways.
Sideways. So before we get to Nick, I found a sad Sam. So
Oh, here we go.
this is what Shame on a Basket looks like.
All it's missing is the phone.
Oh, where's the sad Sam? I put it. We didn't get it up. Here's the sad Sam. Did
Yeah.
anyone give this to a girlfriend? I remember I gave
An ex, is a secret story coming out now? You gave her this Mushroomhead CD, and don't lie.
No, it wasn't. He's like, I'm like, I love you. Here's a Mushroomhead album. And she's like, what?
I'm dumping your ass.
I am dumping you forever. So yeah, that's the sad Sam. That's what Shame on a Basket looks like. So Nick, final thoughts and your vote.
Well, it's nice to know we know what Shame in a Basket looks like. That's just
Oh.
answering all the questions about life that we need to know about. I thought it was okay. The thing is, like, again, I'm not the metal guy of the group, so as far as the metal stuff that I've listened to over the last little while, this is definitely near to the bottom. I don't think this is really anything that I would really listen to again. The thing that I would say about this, and I would say this about really anything metal or in general, is that it's very good instrumentally. Obviously, very well performed, very well produced, very well put together. Really enjoyed some of the guitars on here and the guitar solos. So I think if you're a guitar fan, there's a lot to enjoy on this record, as there is with most metal records. I think that's always been obviously a huge focus of rock music, metal music in general. So really good stuff there. Like I said, everything's very well performed, very well put together, but I didn't feel like there was any songs that really stuck in my head that were really memorable, that really something that I could take away from it. The test for me is when I always listen to records, I'll put them into a Spotify playlist to listen to them again. And I don't think I picked anything from this record to listen to again. It wasn't as bad as I was expecting, because Hector, we were talking on Instagram and you're saying this is so cringe. And I'm thinking, like, do they have a reputation for being like that? I'm not really familiar with the band. Are they known for being bad? Because like right from the get-go, I was like, okay, then maybe isn't that bad. But then that sort of changed as the album went on. So for me, I'm gonna give it the same as Chili. I'm gonna give it a thumb sideways. There was some stuff here I liked, maybe not everything, but it wasn't a complete loss for me. So not too bad.
Okay, so we have 2 thumbs sideways. What about you, JC?
Okay, yeah, I think it's the kind of album where it's kind of like interesting. It kind of like there are some songs I like the Grand Gesture. I like that one. I thought like that they were going for the Faith No More sound, but I think like the female vocalist, she kind of saves this album, and so some of the different like Faith No More or Mr. Bungle type of influences kind of saved it. Because I think if they were going like straight new metal, it might have been just another album. But I think there is some interesting stuff. Like another one, we're saying hallucination. It's actually hallucination. It kind of, but
No,
yeah,
It's halitosis of the hallucination.
hallucination. Yeah. This one, like normally, I would have thought, okay, it sounds like a Slipknot song, but again, like the female vocals, it saves it.
like a sleep kind of, yeah.
Yeah, same with like the Hideous. That was not Shame in the Basket. I know that one was kind of long, but it kind of reminded me of like 9 Inch Nails, a little kind of like a creepier kind of thing.
Like an 9 Inch Nails meatloaf.
Yeah, the Doom Goose. They probably could have left that off the album, but I put in my notes. It sounds like a Tim Burton kind of movie soundtrack, that kind of thing. But I don't know. I think I'm gonna actually go a thumbs up.
Wow.
I know you're gonna be surprised in that, but I think it's just the kind of thing. I think there's like enough here I might go back to. It's kind of like that Kitty album where I've been kind of like listening to it again. I think there's some stuff here. I'm not saying it's like the greatest album ever, but I think it's good enough for a thumbs up for the purposes of this episode. Yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't. I told Justin Roth from Workers that we were doing this, and he says that to him this is one of the worst bands ever. So he sent me a joke that we can use for the episode. So Mushroomhead, they are the 75% off day after Halloween sale at Spirit Halloween. After all of the good costumes are gone. Like I told him, I'm like, and I'm Justin, I'm using your joke because it's that good. Yeah, it's like imagine it's Halloween and the kid goes like, "Oh yes, I want the Slipknot costume. Best I can do is Mushroomhead." And he's like, "Who?" And like, "You gotta dress like Mushroomhead." And I'm like, "No." So to me, this is this album. It's not good. I've listened to worse stuff this year. And I think if they didn't have the female singer on this album, it would be a complete thumbs down for me.
Yeah.
But I think she saves it. So Mushroomhead, if you're watching this, just do the rebranding, man. Have her as the main focus of the band, and I have a name for them. Instead, Eva Head.
Good Lord.
Mushroom essence. Like
mushroom essence. Essence of mushrooms. Sounds like something you'd buy off eBay. It's like, oh, it heals my inner soul.
Yeah, because I think it's funny after 30 years, you're like, this can be the one, man. I'm like, oh man, after 30 years, it's not happening, bro. But yeah, listening to it, it's long. I think they could cut stuff from it. Some songs are way long, but it's not atrociously bad. It's not great. It's pretty bad. But I also would give it a thumb sideways. I've heard worse things, and I think the female Jackie, what's her name? Jackie La what?
La Panza, I think.
Jackie La Panza saves it from being a thumbs down. If it wasn't for Jackie, this would have gotten a thumbs down for me. But To me, Shaming a Basket is an atrociously bad song. It's just so corny. Like they were like like Meatloaf meets the theatrics, like Phantom of the Opera, and he's like, "No, I have shame." It was just
Meatloaf meets Nine Inch Nails.
I have shame in a basket. I just thought it was too long, and the album. I'm like, man, they could have really benefited from shaving 15 minutes out of this record, and it would have been more enjoyable. Just
Three
think about a few
tracks.
tracks, or shaving a basket. That could have been like did it need to be 8.5, almost 9 minutes? No, it didn't need to be that long. So, but yeah, we have two thumbs sideways, so one thumbs up. So this album is slightly saved. It's like hanging there. So it's not great.
It's listing.
It's there. Yeah, it's like you see, they're gonna see this review. It's like, you see, Shielded said we're not that bad. We're gonna make it, guys. This 9 album, I'm telling you, we are going to make it. And then they get an offer. Yes, it's Slipknot. You may open the Slipknot Fest for us.
Oh, that's fighting words amongst the fan base. I can hear the keyboards from here.
Yeah. So we want to know from you, Couchers, what would you rate this album? Comment what are the worst tracks from you, and do you think it's unfair to compare them to Discount Slipknot when they came before? Because that's a good question. They did before, but yeah, it's been 30 years and they're pretty much like they're right there. But I've never heard,
Exist.
I never seen anyone with a Mushroomhead t-shirt, just like you two. Like, it's like who have you ever seen someone with a Mushroomhead t-shirt?
No.
I don't think so.
I've seen someone on mushrooms.
Me too. So yeah, people, and so coming up next week, if like weather permits and everything is well in Puerto Rico, like we're going to talk about the new Falling in Reverse album, and for that one, apparently Chile, you're doing it because Robert sent me an
Am
email.
I?
That's what Robert said.
Is it next week?
Yeah, next Friday.
Oh, okay.
Next Friday.
I'm doing it.
So it's gonna be Chile. Nick, you are saved from this one.
Okay.
It's gonna be
Lucky
JC Rock
you.
and Metal Reviews and Robert from Trolling in Paradise. He already sent me like, where's my Zoom link? I'm like, dude, I'll create it. So we'll get to it. But so that's gonna be next week, the new episode for Is It That Bad? Falling in Reverse. And I know we're doing the new Offspring when it comes out in October. For that one, Nick, you can do
What?
the Offspring.
Oh yeah, for sure.
There was a
Yeah.
new
Offspring,
Offspring
yeah.
announcement.
There is a new Offspring coming, and
Oh
the
dear.
first single is, so we're gonna do that. And today there's
yeah,
also a new song by Skillet, and guess what? It sucks. So on November,
What's Skillet? What did you
Isn't That
expect?
Bad for Skillet. So we have a few new albums that we're covering for Is It That Bad? So we want to know, like, and we'll probably do some, like, we'll leave some older ones for next year. We can't do everything this year. So I want to thank my panel, Live Listen Erase. Like, if you haven't checked his channel out, he's got great content, the Live Listen Erase, and he does 5-minute reviews that sometimes are 5 minutes, sometimes it's 8, sometimes it's just 3 minutes. So the question is like, do not call it 5-minute review. Maybe you should call it wiki reviews.
Quickie reviews, yeah.
People will be like, oh, I'm shaking.
That's the best hashtag I've ever had.
Yeah, quickie reviews with the man who produces iron from his eyes. Like I'm intrigued. So subscribe to him. And obviously, Nick Zeno, if you want to know a lot about like more like rock and roll, he knows everything about Oasis. He has a restraining order from Noel Gallagher. No, it's like Nick Zeno.
All three brothers.
And I've done reviews on his channel as well, so subscribe to him as well. And of course, JC Rock and Metal Reviews. You know, he's got the biggest following here. So he's like the, you know, like people flock to his channel for the history. If
Oh,
you
yeah.
want history from bands, he'll give it to you. And so JC, like you know, he's doing more like weekly recap as well, like where he picks like 5 albums and
Yeah,
talks.
I do my weekly metal show, and instead of doing the single reviews, I try to
that's a
put a
cool
couple
idea.
of reviews in one.
Yeah,
It's easier that way. Yeah.
it's easier. And of course, if you haven't subscribed to me, you know, I have the Is It That Bad? I have the interviews, and I have my own like reviews on the channel. So you know, subscribe to our channel, give us a thumbs up, and share this with Mushroomhead fans. Please.
And Mushroomhead.
And Mushroomhead, yes. Yeah. So until next time, people, this is Hector, the Shield Dude on a Couch, and I'll see you next time on another episode of Is It That Bad? Thank you and goodbye.